Hello and welcome. Take a moment to relax your mind and imagine something extraordinary. Imagine that you could travel backward through time, not just hundreds of years, but millions of years. Imagine that you could watch the long journey of humanity, from its earliest ancestors to the modern world you see today. When you look at your life today, surrounded by technology, cities, medicine, and global communication, it can be difficult to imagine how simple human life once was. But the story of human evolution and progress is one of the most fascinating journeys in scientific history. If you travel far back into the past, long before written language and long before civilization, the world looked very different. Forests covered much of the land. Large animals roamed freely, and early human ancestors lived closely with nature. The scientific field that studies the origin and development of humans is called paleoanthropology. Scientists in this field study fossils, ancient tools, and genetic evidence to understand how humans developed over millions of years. Modern humans belong to a biological group called hominins. These are species closely related to humans that lived during different periods of evolutionary history. The earliest stages of this journey began in Africa millions of years ago. One of the earliest known ancestors, connected to the human family tree, is Australopithecus afarensis, which lived about 3 to 4 million years ago. Fossils of this species show that these early ancestors had bodies adapted for walking on two legs. This ability, called bipedalism, was a major evolutionary step because it allowed early humans to move efficiently across long distances and use their hands more freely. One famous fossil from this species, often called Lucy, was discovered in Ethiopia in 1974 and provided important evidence about how early humans walked and lived. Walking upright may seem ordinary to you today, but in evolutionary history it was a significant advantage. It allowed early humans to carry food, tools, and children while moving through their environment. Over long periods of time, evolution produced new human species with different abilities and characteristics. Around 2 million years ago, a species called Homo habilis appeared. The name means handy human because fossil evidence shows that this species created some of the earliest stone tools. These tools were simple but extremely important. Sharp pieces of stone could cut meat, scrape animal skins, and break bones to access nutritious marrow. With these tools, early humans could use resources more efficiently and survive in challenging environments. Technology in human history began with these simple tools. They may appear basic compared to modern machines, but they represented a major cognitive leap. Making tools required planning, observation, and learning from experience. Early humans began passing knowledge from one generation to the next, allowing technology to gradually improve. Later, another species emerged that played a critical role in human development: Homo erectus. This species had a larger brain and more advanced abilities than earlier ancestors. Fossil evidence shows that Homo erectus created more sophisticated tools and may have been one of the first human species to control fire. The control of fire was one of the most important technological discoveries in early human history. Fire provided warmth, protection from predators, and a new way to prepare food. Cooking food changed human biology and culture. Cooked food is easier to digest, allowing the body to absorb more energy. This increased energy may have helped support the growth of larger human brains over time. Fire also created new opportunities for social interaction. When early humans gathered around fires, they could share food, communicate, and strengthen relationships. Some researchers believe that these social environments contributed to the development of language. Communication allowed humans to coordinate hunting, share knowledge, and teach skills more effectively. Another major development during this period was migration. Evidence shows that Homo erectus began traveling beyond Africa into parts of Asia and Europe. This movement marked the beginning of humanity's long history of exploration and adaptation to new environments. Over hundreds of thousands of years, different human species appeared in various regions of the world. One well-known group was Homo neanderthalensis, commonly known as Neanderthals. Neanderthals lived in Europe and Western Asia and were well adapted to cold climates. They had strong bodies, large brains, and complex behaviors. Archaeological evidence shows that they used tools, created clothing, and may have practiced burial rituals, suggesting emotional and cultural awareness. Meanwhile, another species was developing in Africa, Homo sapiens. Modern humans first appeared about 300,000 years ago. Compared with earlier human species, Homo sapiens developed advanced cognitive abilities. Humans began using complex language, symbolic thinking, and creative expression. Around 70,000 years ago, groups of Homo sapiens began migrating out of Africa and spreading across the planet. Humans gradually settled in Asia, Europe, Australia, and eventually the Americas. Over thousands of years, humans adapted to many environments, from deserts and forests to icy northern regions. During this time, humans continued developing technology and culture. Early tools became more specialized. Humans invented spears, fishing equipment, and eventually bows and arrows. They also began creating art. Archaeologists discovered ancient cave paintings in places such as Lascaux Cave, where humans painted images of animals and symbols on cave walls more than 17,000 years ago. These paintings show that early humans had imagination and symbolic thought. Another major turning point in human history occurred around 12,000 years ago when humans began practicing agriculture. Before this period, most human societies were hunter-gatherers who moved frequently in search of food. Eventually, people learned that certain plants could be cultivated and harvested. Agriculture allowed humans to settle in one place and produce food more reliably. As agriculture spread, villages began to grow into towns and eventually into cities. Large civilizations developed in different regions of the world. One of the earliest was Mesopotamia, where people built complex societies along the Tigris and Euphrates rivers. Another early civilization developed in ancient Egypt, where people created monumental architecture, writing systems, and organized governments. These civilizations introduced many new developments in human culture. Writing allowed people to record information, laws, and historical events. Mathematics helped societies measure land, build structures, and conduct trade. Organized religions provided systems of belief that helped people understand the world and guide moral behavior. Over time, several major religions influenced societies across the world, including Christianity, Islam, Hinduism, and Buddhism. These belief systems shaped art, philosophy, law, and social structures across many cultures. As human knowledge continued to expand, scientific thinking began to develop more systematically. During the scientific revolution, scholars began studying nature using observation and experimentation. Scientists such as Isaac Newton discovered laws of motion and gravity that explained how objects move and how planets orbit the sunday. Later, the naturalist Charles Darwin proposed the theory of evolution by natural selection, which explained how species change over long periods of time. Darwin's work provided a scientific explanation for biological diversity and helped scientists understand how humans developed from earlier ancestors. The 19th and 20th centuries brought dramatic technological progress. The Industrial Revolution introduced machines that could produce goods more efficiently. Factories, railways, and steam engines transformed transportation and industry. Electricity changed daily life by powering homes, cities, and communication systems. Medicine also advanced rapidly. One major breakthrough occurred when Alexander Fleming discovered penicillin, the first widely used antibiotic. This discovery helped doctors treat bacterial infections that had previously been deadly. In the 20th century, humans developed computers, which allowed information to be processed and stored at incredible speeds. Later, scientists created the internet, connecting billions of people around the world and transforming communication, education, and commerce. Today, humanity has entered a new era of technological development that includes robotics, biotechnology, and artificial intelligence. Advanced systems such as ChatGPT are capable of assisting with communication, research, and learning. When you look at this long journey from early human ancestors walking across ancient landscapes to modern societies connected by global networks, you can see how human curiosity and creativity have shaped the world. The history of human evolution is not only the story of biological change, but also the story of learning, discovery, and innovation. And when you learn new ideas, develop skills, or explore knowledge, you become part of this long human tradition of growth and progress.